I'm Andre Huey, and this is St. Martin Island Time TV News. Too many institutions and businesses in St. Martin are not affording upward mobility to locals, a practice that must be stopped, said Minister of Finance Richard Gibson on Wednesday. He made his statements against the backdrop of the appointment of Chris Johnson of SABA as the Dutch representative for St. Martin.
There are too many institutions on St. Martin where you search in vain for evidence that these institutions are truly St. Martin institutions when you look at the people who work and manage these institutions. If we look at the prosecutor's department, for instance, you cannot find one Windward Islander in the prosecution department functioning as a prosecutor. If we look at a court, the Court of First Instance and the Court of Appeal, you cannot find one Windward Islander sitting on the bench. But it doesn't end there. It's a cancer. It's a cancer that permeates almost everywhere. If we take our main industry, tourism, and we look at all of the major hotels, and we're in tourism since 1962. We don't have one local manager running any major hotel. How come? Why is this? If we look at government-owned companies like the airport, the harbor, KLM, you get a different image. What kind of message are we sending to our youth, to our people in general? And then when we look at the neighboring islands, you see a complete different picture. What's wrong with us? Why are we different to them? I'll tell you why. Somebody didn't make a plan. Somebody intentionally is excluding locals from certain positions. Government, as well as these institutions, have the obligation to nurture the people and create and produce the people that's going to occupy these positions. And they're not doing that, and that's why we look different than St. Kitts, Dominica, and everywhere else. That has to stop.
Prime Minister William Marlin is reporting progress on the sewage project for Dutch Quarter, funded by the European Union.
It's been some time that this project has been in discussion, but it's the first time that we have actually gotten to this point where we can guarantee that the project will be carried out. So the tender documents have been prepared and they have now been approved by the EU Commission, and that means now that the project can go on public bid. Because it's a EU-funded project, it will be opened also for contractors throughout the region that is associated to the EU, but also to the EU member states. It would be unusual, let's say, because of the nature and the scope of work that, let's say, a contractor from Paris or from the Netherlands would sign in. But you may be well aware that the contractor that won, the company that won the bid to prepare the tender documents is a company, Ilaco, that is established in Suriname. Years ago, they had a branch in the Netherlands, Antilles, and in St. Martin. But that's the company that actually won that bid. But we feel quite confident that not too many, if any, companies from abroad, because of the scope of the work and the kind of work that it is. But we are happy that we have reached this stage of the project again. It's another milestone. Estimated time for us to sign a contract with a contractor to actually execute the work would be in the first week of December. Around the 5th of December is now the target that the project will be signed off on.
Minister of Finance Richard Gibson said the International Monetary Fund, IMF, is projecting a 1.7% growth in the economy for St. Martin in 2017 and a slight growth for 2016.
Project that we will have a growth this year of 0.7%, and they project the growth for 2017 will be 1.7%. I want to alert you that there is a global slowdown. If you look at the chart going backward for the last 10, 15 years, you can see that countries enjoyed a GDP growth of 6, 7%, and it's steadily, including the United States, it's declining, and now today you have an average global growth of 2.7 to 3%. St. Martin also years ago had growth of 4 to 5%, and that too is declining. A combination of steps will have to be taken to be able to withstand this global recession that seems to be coming.
Minister of Education Sylvia Jacobs is calling for calm as the government seeks a permanent solution to the school bus tender issue.
Several have been asking about that as well, including information requested by Parliament. We did, as ministers, Minister TZVT, Arundel, and myself, receive a joint report from our departments who have been working together since we have established that committee. We have a draft joint policy, service level agreement, as well as an advice, which after discussion, the next step in the process is that the committee will meet now with the school bus owners, operators, to inform them of the proposed way forward, get their input, etc., where hopefully we'll be able to, we have both short-term and long-term solutions. I would not want to divulge those in the public before the school bus operators get the opportunity, but just that the public is informed that this, the promise that we would be working together as ministries to resolve this issue has not fallen on deaf ears, that we are actively and proactively working to resolve this issue in the interest of all concerned. And so therefore, as soon as we achieve the meetings that are necessary with the school bus operators, etc., we'll be able to proceed further with signing of a service level agreement, hopefully with the operators for the short term, and moving on with the other regulations that we would like to implement moving forward and preparing then for next year's tendering of it as it should be for such a large uitgave.
This has been St. Martin Island Time TV News. I'm Audrey Huey. Thank you for watching.